Second half of the chorus, we have this keys I have that's playing the counter melody. So as you can tell, so far in the song, we have this constant contrast between the band and the orchestra. Like, they both take turns to have their own space, right? But then from verse 2, we are starting to see the two colliding with each other, and the orchestra is bleeding into the band's space in the verse, and the band is stepping into the orchestra territory in the pre-chorus. And there's more to it as well, but let's listen to it first. And remember, we are changing key from chorus 1 to verse 2. So let's hear how the transition carries over. As you can tell already from this, the orchestra already bleeding into it. But then what's going on in the verse 2 here? Let's have a look. We still have the same drum in the verse. I didn't do anything crazy to the drums in this track. It's literally just there to keep the rhythm. So the main difference are these ones. So what's going on here? Well, first of all, we have these swelling keys that I put some slight detuning on. Don't ask me why. It just sounds gorgeous. Like, don't ask me why I put detuning on it. It sounds gorgeous. And then we have this sort of arpeggio thingy going on. Why did I call it glockenspiel? Oh, so beautiful. And then of course we have the guitar. If you didn't know already, this kind of R&B thingy is my thing. Oh, okay. One thing about a drum I forgot to tell you is that the rim shot, like the backbeat, I changed it here. So when you listen to, let's say, the chorus, listen to the rim shot. It's on the 2 and the 4, but when it comes to the second verse, listen to it again. It's a bit more syncopated, and that goes really well with the new key change and all of that shenanigans. Then we get to the second half of the verse 2, and this is when the orchestra is starting to bleed in, especially, gosh, there's so many things in this track, the strings. So they're all cello, and I have all three different articulation going on. One of them is the tremolo that you heard at the start. And then there's the legato one. It's actually meant to be one player doing this line here. all three are meant to be played by one voice, one cello. So when you hear them all together, but because like I want to do different thing to different articulation as well, that's why I have to separate them into 3 tracks. We also have the woodwind as well. They're just doubling the cello, an orchestrating technique where you double the line of one instrument with the other ones, which make it sound really massive. Like you heard the cello on its own, right? Now double it with the woodwind. It sounds like this. Really subtle, but you can feel that it's there. And then there's all these guitar layers. Okay, so one of them is right in the center, but then there's some other things that's going on in the left and the right as well, just for ear candy purposes. So I basically just split the line up and then pan them to either side. Yeah, and we'll couple that with the center one. And then when you put all of that together, the second half of the verse sounds like this. Oh, I love the strings. It sounds massive. It's actually my favorite part of the track as well. Okay, now let's move on to the pre-chorus. This is where, like I told you, the pre-chorus is the orchestra's territory, but then we have the drum, the kick especially, and the guitar stepping into that territory. But before that, let me show you what the orchestra is doing, because there is more to it compared to the first pre-chorus. So we have the double bass as usual. And remember, everything now is in a different key as well. So there's that aspect as well. So we have the double bass, and then you got the whole string family is here. Now, to make it sound even more massive, I double it with some samples as well. Let me show you what sample sounds on their own. That sounds so sinister for some reason. I love it. So yeah, you can tell like it's really compressed. The samples are really compressed, but that gives it the presence for the strings to cut through. And then just do the solo cello, that's probably doubling as well. This time we have the harp as well. That's so we have the harp doing sort of arpeggio. And then for this time, along with the harp, we have the horn joining in as well, playing some staccato, and then just blasting off at the end. And then the woodwind also doing the staccato as usual. Yeah, and then you can hear that that pulse staccato is getting like even denser as it go on. By the end, everything just holds sustain. And then when you play the whole orchestra together, second chorus, we have the band going back again. But then we also have some others, ear candy as well. So as you can tell, the texture of the music here is the densest, like the most dense texture is in the second chorus. And there's a reason for that as well. Like I told you previously, in terms of music theory, G flat major is the one that has the most accidental, right? Which can also be implied that it's the one that needs the most adjustment or support. That's why there's the most amounts of instrument in that chorus as well. The elements of the music and the lyrics itself are also reflect in the track as it's going as well. That's why I told you, like, this track is actually my best example of having a song first and then look into it to find direction to produce. Okay, so the collision also happens again in the bridge. And remember, we're going back to a flat major. And this is also another climactic moment. So let's hear what's going on. Okay, so we have both the band and the orchestra playing at this point. And the interesting thing here in the bridge is that the orchestra is not needed. Yes, when you hear the bridge on its own, without the orchestra, see, it's very self-sustained. Like, everything is there, everything I needed is there. There's no need for the orchestra. Also, I know you're curious about this one. It's actually 2 layers that I did. I think just tremolo. Yep, and then I layer it again. And then along with the steel string as well, the guitars part sounds like this. Yeah, and the reason why I said, like, the orchestra is not needed is, well, you have that guitar doing pretty much the heavy lifting of the harmony, but it's not the same without the orchestra still, obviously. And the orchestra allows it to be one of the more climactic moment, and it has to be a climactic moment as well, because remember, at the last chorus we go into F major, and that has the least amount of accidental, the least amount of support, so you can probably anticipate a contrast there as well. So what's going on in the orchestra? It's pretty much still the same thing as the pre-choruses. It's just different notes. But then we have some really interesting, how do I put it, counterpoint going on. And by this point, the orchestra is done. Like the job the orchestra has done. Why? Because now we're going into the final chorus, the final destination of the options. Like we're finally getting to the options that we decided to go with. And what's going on in the last one? There's only piano. Why? Well, like I told you, F major is the one that has the least amount of accidental, which can also be looked at as the one that needs the least amount of support. So piano is the way to go. But also, because F major is right in the middle of E flat major and G flat major, it's the one in the middle ground. It's the one on the fence. That's the option that we're going with, right? And when you look at the instrument itself, the piano exists in both. Well, like you all know, like the piano exists in pop music as well, in the band sound world, but it also already exists first in the classical, the art music, the orchestra side of things. So it goes really well along with the F major final destination that we get in here. Like it exists in both worlds, and that's my answer as well. Like it's not G flat major or E flat major, not the orchestra or the band, not art music or pop music as well, but right in the middle with F major and the piano, and that's where my music exists. Like it sits between the two major influences of my life as a musician. So yeah, I tell you, this track is really well thought out, and it's my favorite for a reason. And yeah, I think that's enough nerdy stuff for you. And before you have to wait for too long for this track as well, I'm dropping it soon, this Friday. So please tune in by then. And next week what are we doing next week? I don't even know, but I'll see you next week. Till then, see ya.